Hello everyone and welcome to the fourth part of Source Gaming's Switch Super Discussion. In this part we're going over all the third-party titles that won't make launch. Everything from any company that are both Western like EA or Japanese like Capcom. So without wasting any more time, I'm your host Nantenjex. Joining me today is Spazzy D, Connor Eats Pants and Epic Martin. Let's jump right in. So let's talk about third parties, and not launch third parties later on. So earlier, you brought up Ubisoft, and now's the time to really talk about them. There was the because we know they're doing Just Dance for launch, but there's also the rumors that there's going to be a Switch port for Rayman Legends. There's going to be the next Assassin's Creed game, which will probably be coming out in November or stuff. They might not show it off here, but it's going to be about Egypt. And that's going to be launching for every system, including the Switch, at the same time.
Including my toaster.
And then, and then the final one is the big rumor we've been hearing about constantly all the time, which is the Rabbids Mario RPG. And according to rumors, that game specifically is going to get shown quite a bit. That's going to be the one Ubisoft focus on the most. So, yeah, talking about Ubisoft, do you think that we are likely to see all of this? Beyond Good and Evil 2 mini teaser as well? Like, do you think they're going to have a lot to show? Do you think they're just going to focus on one, and then the rest will all appear in a reel? Like, how do you think Ubisoft is going to be handled in this presentation?
Oh, all right. So Ubisoft, I mean, they're close to Nintendo. They're trying to support it, so I feel like they got to do something. They're probably going to have the most out at launch, it seems. At least most support this first year, with Rabbids rumored and Rayman Legends rumored. Is that all? Oh, and Assassin's Creed, but they probably won't show that here. That'll be E3.
And Beyond Good and Evil as well, is the other big rumor.
Beyond Good and Evil is rumored to be like a short teaser, and it's going to be exclusive to the Switch for like a year. I think if that part of the rumor is true, that they will mention that now. They'll show off the trailer and be like, "This is Switch exclusive."
Yeah, that's important stuff, is to show those timed exclusives. That's how Microsoft got all the sales in the Xbox One with Tomb Raider. Rise of Tomb Raider doing that. So I think that's important. Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft, that's something you really got from them as far as I know so far. I don't know what else they could do. They could maybe port over Watch Dogs 2. There's potential for that. That game is sold well. People like it a lot. I enjoy it. I mean, I could see that happening potentially. They were going to do Watch Dogs 1 on Wii U, right? And then they canceled it.
Did it get cancelled? I thought they just released it, but like months and months after.
Oh my god, did it get canceled?
Yeah. Oh, they did? But like, they took
really
out, what happened is they took out all the features that were going to be cool about it, right? And like, they just sort of released
that game was a disaster as it was anyway. So
yeah.
There's also they got the snowboarding game as well, whatever it's called.
Yeah, they're like, well, we said we were going to release it, so we have kind of like how Nintendo's doing for Zelda Breath of the Wild on Wii U. They're like, well, I guess we have to. Damn.
Yeah, I didn't even know steep release. Like, that just sort of came out of nowhere. I thought it was a beta, but no, it just came out. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize.
So it is out. I didn't know that either.
So I'm going to predict right now that Ubisoft is going to reveal their zombie Red Steel crossover game as a Switch exclusive. You play as a protagonist of
Steel.
of
finally
Red Steel 2, killing lots of zombies. So that's you heard it here first, folks. So
they're like, guys, we promise it's not Dead Rising, guys.
Martin, what about you and Ubisoft?
I honestly, at this point, I think that if a lot of their titles are successful on the Switch, they'll start porting over maybe their older catalog and start, kind of fleshing out their lineup on the Switch itself. And I think if the more they're successful, the more they're going to port their newer titles to the Switch. I mean, it's simple economics.
Okay, so the next big third-party company, I guess, the other big one, I should say, there is Square-Enix, where we already know that Dragon Quest has been confirmed for the Switch, Dragon Quest 11 and Dragon Quest 10. And potentially, if they do okay, Dragon Quest Builders and maybe that Warriors one, whatever it was called, Dragon Quest Heroes, is it?
Not sure.
Those could potentially all be coming to Switch. And then there's also Final Fantasy 15, which a lot of people have been talking about as a Switch title for a while now. And that one just makes a lot of sense. Like, I think if any other developer, if there's going to be any Japanese developer, I know, Spazzy, you said Capcom earlier, but I think it's Square that's going to get the big push at this presentation. Like, we'll see the Final Fantasy 15 port be shown off. I think Dragon Quest gets its own sort of stuff at a separate place, but Final Fantasy 15 will be the one they talk about.
I feel like Final Fantasy 15 might like wait because they have the PC port coming out sometime this year, right? I feel like they might wait and just release it alongside that.
Yeah, well, it might not be a launch title. I'm not saying it's a launch title,
Okay.
but it could be a game they show off at this presentation. Let's say like it's coming to the Switch. It will come out in August.
Didn't Final Fantasy 15? I mean, it sold great because it's Final Fantasy, but relatively to expectations, didn't it underperform?
It did underperform, yes, but it's been really well received.
I've seen mixed reviews. It's been well received, but
mixed.
yeah. I'm sure. Let's look what the Metacritic is. I mean, it's an 82, 7.8 from users, so it's good, but it's not. I mean, that's very good.
Compared
it's not a
to the
blockbuster.
Final Fantasies of previous years, I think it's been compared to 13, and I mean 14 and 11 are weird because they were MMOs.
Yeah.
So just compared to 13, I think it's been more well received.
But yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of hype tied to it since it wasn't as great as a lot of people were hoping it would be, number one. And number two, it's already a game that's already out. People have already been playing, you know? I guess maybe the appeal of playing a game like that on the go, you know, because I feel like, you know, that's the sort of game that's perfect. So Skyrim, so Zelda, so Xenoblade for a plane trip or something, you know? Or
yeah.
But
what if we saw like Final Fantasy VII, you know, because they didn't show that at the PlayStation conference for some reason. What if they were holding it off to show some bit of it at the Switch presentation?
A bigger game than Final Fantasy 15 is actually Kingdom Hearts 3. That would be a bigger grab for
I
Nintendo.
agree with Spazzy. I don't think Final Fantasy VII will be, for the simple fact that it's still meant to be a timed PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Oh, true.
And I think they're gonna keep that up.
They're gonna use the engine and just do a Final Fantasy 6 full remake.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3
not gonna happen.
Could be a good one to show off, especially because it's been a while since we've really heard anything about that game. And this might be a good time to show it off. Or at the very least, if they do show off Kingdom Hearts 3, I kind of want them to release 1.5 and 2.5 and 2.8 on the Switch, like building up to it. All as make them downloads. They don't have to be physical, but release them all in the build up for Kingdom Hearts 3 because none of them have ever been released on Nintendo systems. It's only been on their handhelds that they've ever got a Kingdom Hearts game.
So here's a question. What about Square Enix titles that typically are Nintendo handheld exclusives? What about a full-scale Bravely Default game, for instance?
Ooh.
You know?
Maybe. I think that they already confirmed. I mean, I think the developer for that confirmed that they were working on a mobile Bravely game. So I don't know if they are going to be working on a Switch one as well.
Right,
But that would have been nice to see.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we need to think of this as. I know it's a portable home console, but they're probably also going to get a lot of the developers who did handheld stuff for them. So you might see some interesting stuff that we're not thinking about, that we're not kind of thinking out of the box of. For the most part, yeah, like I could see a port of 15, but I don't think people are going to get too excited about that. That's just going to seem kind of rehashy, especially if they just keep showing ports. I do think, like I said before, Kingdom Hearts 3 is a big one if they do that. Any sort of exclusives, I don't know what we really have no idea. There's no rumors, so I mean, they could be like, and a brand new Nintendo exclusive RPG starring Geno. Whatever. We don't know what's going on. I doubt that we're going to get too much exclusive things. I think the biggest thing they could possibly do is Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's basically the start and end of it. With the exception of, speaking of Square Enix, Tomb Raider. I could see a Tomb Raider port as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo doesn't have Uncharted, and Tomb Raider is the closest thing to Uncharted. So, to appeal to the gamers that like that genre, that's probably the game to go.
Well, guys, do you think there's any other big third-party companies that are going to get some kind of focus here at this presentation? Like, so we brought up Square, we brought up Ubisoft, Capcom was briefly brought up, EA was briefly brought up. Do you think there's any other big third parties that are going to get?
Namco.
Oh yeah, of course, Namco.
Oh yeah, with Tekken 7. I mean, I don't know if that's coming. I know that's coming to the PlayStation 4, maybe. I don't know about that, but maybe it's
You know
coming
what
to
would
the...
be a kind of a huge deal? We're getting GameCube Virtual Console, Soul Calibur 2 with Link.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it
that
actually
could
would be
that
because that's the
pretty
first time you'd be able to buy
Yeah.
that version of Soul Calibur since it launched, and it'd be the first time you can play it on the go. So, I mean, as far as I know, Virtual Console is not necessarily a huge selling point, but as far as third-party GameCube games, that's going to be one of the big ones.
good. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think Tekken 7, I'm glad they got brought up. I think that it is possible for Switch, and if it is, I think they'll show it off now. Like, I think heck, it could be close to launch Tekken 7, I'm thinking. Because it comes out in March, doesn't it? I think for PS4.
I have no idea about Tekken.
I think yeah, Namco showing off Tekken makes a lot of sense. They might have other stuff to show off, but unless a lot of their stuff is also combined first party. That's why I didn't think about them, because they're, Namco working on Smash, Pokken, Mario Sports Superstars. They're working on a lot of Nintendo-based properties already, so I didn't even think about them as third party. But no, that makes sense. It's Soul Calibur's anniversary, right? If they show off maybe this is the time to actually announce more than just the pachinko machine.
They've said they're working on 3 games, the Soul Calibur people. So
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe one of them's for Switch then.
Potentially, yeah.
Maybe they could announce that next as well.
No, that's completely possible, yeah. But for third parties, you're also mentioning EA. That's the thing, is they just announced that Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out March 21st. Now I know they said it's not coming to the Switch. They said that, but what if it's a lie? You know?
I don't think it's a lie. I think that they were correct. Like, Mass Effect 3 didn't sell well on the Wii U, and that's partially their fault. Especially releasing Mass Effect 3 and then releasing Mass Effect Trilogy like a few months after on every other system kind of completely defeated the purpose of Mass Effect 3. So I think that EA can only blame themselves for that, but they're a company, so they're going to see that
the
and
Mass
just be
Effect
like,
trilogy?
Yeah, they released Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 as part of the collection, literally like 4 months after Mass Effect 3,
Right, but not
on the Wii U.
So they made the Wii U version look because they released the actual game, and then they released the Wii U version months later, and then just a few months after that, they released the trilogy.
For like every system but the Wii U.
Yeah.
So it just made people be like, well, if I'm going to get into Mass Effect now, what's even the point in getting it for the Wii U? Like, I may as well just get the trilogy on all the others.
Right, and Mass Effect is the sort of
save
game where you build your character up through games, through your decisions, who's alive, who's not alive, what your character's like. So you want to play it on a console where you can play all 3 of them.
I need to get into those games. I'm gonna do that this month. I need to start those.
They're good
But
games.
no, from EA, I'm not expecting much outside of the EA Sports stuff, to be honest. So...
Well, the only sports game in the trailer wasn't even EA. I thought it was NBA 2K, which isn't
Yeah,
actually...
it is the only sports one. Well, that's the big rumor when discussing about EA, is that EA were cautious about supporting the Switch for the simple fact that Nintendo, their games don't tend to sell well on Nintendo systems. And so I think as part of this deal to try and get EA, Nintendo are going to want to push EA Sports a bit more.
The other one that sold really good
to appeal to it.
The one that sold really good on the Wii, like the original Wii, was FIFA, but also the NCAA football.
Also Tiger Woods golf.
Which I don't do anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
NCAA football did a lot, though, on the Wii.
Yeah, well, I think these are all titles that they're going to show off golf, Madden, FIFA here at the event to highlight them. But as some sort of big switch. But outside of that, I don't think we're going to get much EA stuff.
So what about the other big American publisher, Activision?
Yeah, Activision is an interesting one. I'm I hadn't thought about them. I don't think they'll show off a new Call of Duty unless the Switch is getting like a port of Infinite Warfare, which is entirely possible.
They definitely won't show a new game. I've been following their schedule for years. I've been following this for
they
months.
Won't show off. Yeah,
they show they tease it in April. Then they show the trailer at the NBA playoff game, and then they showed it at E3 every year without fail.
Yeah. So it won't. They won't be doing that. I don't think Activision's going to have that big a presence. Maybe a appear in a sizzle reel, but that'll be it.
Yeah, so, I don't know what else Activision has. I mean, I guess Skylanders,
Overwatch,
Blizzard. Blizzard. I was about to bring that up. Yeah. And Overwatch is an interesting one. Blizzard, I could see them doing that, or even Diablo, to be honest with you. Diablo on the go would appeal to a lot of people.
But I want them to put Overwatch on the Switch. I don't want my Switch to be gay.
You know what? Oh no.
How dare they?
But yeah, I mean, Overwatch would be a big get. It would be. Once again, that's one of those games though that what are you gonna do? Just do bot matches if you don't have online?
Yeah, definitely. That's probably the biggest issue.
Yeah. And I mean, I love Overwatch, but yeah. And then as far as Blizzard, like I said, the only other game that really came to mind was Diablo, because that Diablo 3 had console ports, but Diablo 3 isn't a huge game for consoles. It's an older game, but I mean, I could see that happen. And I mean, that's it. That's it. I mean, unless get some Crash Bandicoot game, I guess. Dave Mira freestyle
dream,
BMX.
right?
Yeah, dude, that is my
the
dream
game for
right
them.
there. Crash Bandicoot's my childhood right there. So seeing that would be, oh yeah, that would be awesome. But
I doubt we'll get Crash with the
Yeah.
one coming out for PlayStation. I don't think
Yeah.
that's going to be a thing. Alright, and I think that about covers it for all the games we're going to be discussing. But there's a bit more to it than just that. There's still a bunch of other stuff Nintendo can talk about, stuff with the OS, stuff like Virtual Console and Street Pass. So join us next time for the next discussion as we go over all the rest that we might see at this Super Switch blowout presentation. Look forward to it and look forward to the Switch. See you guys.